This is the boob paper that my friend Paul gave me. We found it at the Paper Source store in Hoboken, and I took a sheet, but I wanted to make paper a little more flexible. I had tried it earlier and it was very hard to work with. It's very thick paper, not a lot of give. So I did put a lot of glossy glue and pink dye because I thought for the mammography office, I wanted to make these. So I like the color. I also I have a little bit, I used the parchment paper from an old batch of paper I used, and it actually left some glitter dust on it, which is kind of cute. This came out very nice. I'm hoping I can work with the paper better. It feels a little more flexible. This is paper. Isn't it cute? It's pretty cute. So we'll make something out of this. I think we'll make tulips. I know I've given one batch already to the mammography office and they went crazy for it. So I wanted to have another set on hand. So the first thing I did was to cut the paper into petal-sized strips. Then I cut those strips into individual petal sizes and made a pile. The paper was still very thick to work with, but because I added the glue, it seemed to have a little more flexibility, so my fingers were crossed. Then I took my special scissors, which I've put the link below because these I call killer. They are the most amazing scissors. I used that to cut out my petals. I did about 3 petals at a time because the paper was so thick. Once all my petals were cut out, I sprayed them with a little water to help soften them so they wouldn't tear. And then on top of a piece of foam covered with a rubber mat, I used the fondant icing tools to round the edges of the petals. This gave them a really beautiful curl. It's best to go around the edge first, and you can see it just starts to curl. Then I started on the centers. First I needed 3 pieces of 18 gauge wire. I also used yellow floral tape. I covered each of the tips of the wire with a small piece of yellow floral tape and twisted. Then I took a second small piece of yellow floral tape and just made sure that wound a little bit down on the stem. So for each tulip, you're going to need 3 of these. Once you have your 3 wires covered with the yellow floral tape, take a piece of green floral tape and connect the 3 about a 1/2 inch down. Now your stem is together. Next, you're going to take your needle nose pliers and gently grab the tip of each of those 3 wires, and you're just going to bend it a little bit out. Then you're going to take 6 pieces of tissue paper that are about a 1/4 inch wide by 2 inches long and twist them as tight as you can. So you're going to end up with 6 really thin twists of paper. The tighter the better. Once you have all 6 ready, you're going to dip them in a little bit of tacky glue and then a little bit of black sand, and it makes a beautiful tip to the top of your center. So you're literally rolling it in the glue and then covering that up with the sand. And you can lay them down. They don't seem to stick to anything once the sand is on them, but if you want to be sure, you can lay them on top of parchment paper. The sand has a sparkle to it, which just gives your flower another layer of detail. Now we're going to attach those to the actual stem. So first I just rub some of the tacky glue along the stem. And then adding 2 at a time, I stick them on between the wires that you've bent out. So each flower will have 6 of these attached to it. Once you have all 6 wrapped around the stem, try to get your floral tape around it to make sure they stay in place. You can take a second now and arrange them the way you want, but this will complete the center of your tulip. Now it's time to add our petals. So putting a little bit of hot glue on each petal tip, I want you to attach it about 1/2 inch below the center and hold it on there for a minute so it really attaches. The tulip also has 6 petals. So when you add your second petal, you're thinking in thirds and you want to leave enough of the stem for 1 more petal. You're almost making a triangle. I always attach it pressing my thumb down first and then lining up the top so that I'm sure it's the right height. Now once I have my first 3 petals around, I want to make sure they're really set. Now it's easy to add the next 3. Everywhere there's a crack between the 2 below, you're going to add a petal to cover that over. So wherever there's 2 edges, you're going to cover those edges up with another petal. Once you have all 6 on, you can kind of shape your tulip a little bit with your hand and really hold that bottom. Make sure the glue is on good. Then grab a piece of floral tape and put a tiny bit of hot glue on the end of that as well, and attach that to the end of your petals and start to wind it down your stem. Lastly, I just like to curl the tops of each petal. You can use a pencil or any tool and just give the tops of each petal another little curl. And the last thing we need to do is add some leaves. So I had these extra tulip leaves I had made previously. If you'd like to see how I make my leaves, you can watch the Creating Custom Papers video, and it shows you my whole setup, as well as the olive tree video, which is all about making leaves. So I'm just going to add 3 tulip leaves to finish this off. I like how these tulips came out. Despite the thickness of the paper, I was able to work with them. Like I said, they make a great incentive to go to the mammography office just to see the technician's face when you hand her a bouquet of these topless tulips. Thanks for taking this journey with me from paper to petals. If you have any questions, please leave comments and subscribe for further tutorials.